Hello, everyone. I am William Wang, and this is.
Jerry Liu.
Nice to meet you, Jerry.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
too.
to meet you. Jerry is a part of the FTC team 16448, AIMBOT Robotics. Is that right?
That's right.
I got the numbers correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, AIMBOT. So, first of all, that's a very interesting name. AIMBOT. Right? And for robotics, is this a club? Is this a team? Is this something that you've been part of?
So AIMBOT Robotics is kind of a small team that, like, not me, but my brother's friends actually started themselves. And I think that's the cool thing about FTC, because like the players can make their own teams.
Okay. So it's like, I could start a team, right?
Well, it'd be pretty difficult.
That's true. Okay, that's true. I'll give you that. But like, how'd you get like? So you walked into your basement and you saw like your brother doing robotics,
Yeah.
and then you said, "Hey, I want to join." Right? I wanna be a part of it.
I feel like me joining, I think there was two aspects in it. I think the first aspect was I kind of just went downstairs and I would help out because I had a passion for engineering. And I think in the first year, that's definitely what we placed an emphasis on, just the engineering portion. And I think the second reason was because of kind of how good I am at engineering. And because I would help out and they could tell that I was passionate, they decided that to invite me to the team.
I see. So, from what I've heard from you, you've been doing robotics for how much years? 4 years?
4 years.
4 years. So
Yeah.
you started when you were in grade 5.
Yeah.
I can do my math. I can. Okay, so grade 5. So you've been doing robotics for 4. That's impressive. Do you like engineering in general, or is it something that's greater than just engineering?
So I think that there's many aspects in the first that kind of like made me really enjoy this, I would say, like competition. So first of all, I think as I already mentioned, I'm really passionate about engineering, and building a robot seemed really like interesting and fun to me. And I think another aspect is to see our robots succeed is really like rewarding, because even though robotics might seem like just building, I would say that there's many like tedious and tiring portions. But in order to see our robot succeed, we have to go through those like what is that? Tedious eras.
I see.
So-
So, like, okay, sorry. But like, the final result is always like what you guys work for, right? That's the final result that you guys work for.
I mean, I would say sometimes the final result is not exactly what we aim for. Like, it's not as good as we wanted, but oftentimes it is what we wanted, and it's really successful. It's really rewarding.
I see. So, in the robotics team, like, what role do you take normally? Like, in your team, there's probably like how much members are in your robotics team?
Can't count.
Can't count.
11.
Okay, 11. So around 10, right? Let's
Yeah.
just say around 10. And then, like, what role do you guys normally take? Or are you guys like just generally doing the same thing? Or are you guys like specialists? Do you do one part that's like, hey, I'm good at this. I'm good at programming, let's say. So I do the programming. I'm good at maybe doing social media posts or like designing posters or something. Do I do that? Or is it more of like everybody does everything, sort of?
I think it's definitely more of the specialist type,
Okay.
because I think that me personally, it's more valuable if I work on the engineering, which I'm obviously better at, rather if I work on the coding, which I'm not very good at. So it's definitely how our team kind of runs. But every member definitely has a role in every portion of the robot, because it's really important to have each member that understand not only the design, also the build, and as well as the coding, and also the outreach of the robot. So everyone is kind of working together to create this cohesive build.
Okay. Yeah, so Jerry, how did robotics like change you as a person? Because you've been doing this for a long time. And then like obviously it had to have something that changed you, right? Maybe it's your thought. What did you like? Did it influence your passions? Did it like give you like an inkling on what future field you want to do more in, pursue in the future? Like, what's your thought on that?
So I would say growing up, I've always had a passion for engineering. I've always like enjoyed taking apart things and building new things. And so that made robotics a pretty easy decision for me to join, as not only a hobby, but also my passion. And during robotics, I feel like I've got a greater appreciation for the other things that go into a build rather than just the engineering, also the designing and the coding.
I
think,
see.
Yeah, this has also definitely influenced my passion. And as a team, I think we've also worked with people such as Mo Chen, who's a computer science professor at SFU, when we did a sort of presentation with him where he kind of discussed how he approaches robotics in his Mars lab at SFU, which is like clearly way above ours. And he talked with people that are like not only in middle school, but also people that are almost graduating high school. And he talked a lot about robotics and what careers you can pursue taking robotics. So I think that's really interesting.
You know, robotics is such a big, like, AI computing is just like such a big field, right? So what are sort of like the careers that, well, that you're interested in?
I think that, well, I'm interested in just being an engineer, like building things, because my passion. And I also think engineering is, in a way, a pretty high-reaching job, because like being able to build these like great and magnificent structures is really like high-reaching. So I think that there's a lot to pursue with things such as robotics.
I see. So, but like engineering, right? So, is it more like constructing, like, you know, buildings, or is it more constructing like robots and softwares? Like, which type of engineering are you referring
So I would say the engineering that I'm most interested in is more just like building buildings, right?
to?
But I would say in the larger scheme, the idea of robotics as a whole, I would say is like gigantic in the future. And even now, we can see how robots are changing the way that we see like such simple things. And I think robotics is going to be one of the biggest and most influential fields in the future.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. Robotics, AI in general, it's just gonna like. What do you think about the future? Is AI gonna take over our world? Are you afraid of that? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think that the idea that AI is going to take over the world is kind of far from where we're at right now, because I think the idea that AI is going to take over the world is the idea that we make robots that are better than us. And I think now what we should focus on is robots that help the people that are weaker than us. So to make sure that the developing countries are able to kind of grow and fix themselves so that they can also help with the innovations. And if we have more people innovating and more ideas, then I think, me personally, that would reduce the amount of, say, like AI taking over the world.
I see. Yeah. So, Jerry, on the last point, if I want to be interested in robotics, right? If I want to join like a robotics team, if I want to join a competition for FTC, like what is the best way for me to do that? If I have like no knowledge of robotics and FTC, like what should I do? Is there a club in the school? Is there like a academy I can join, like somewhere else? So what should I do as a beginner for robotics?
So I would say, touching on that idea of going to schools, I would say, from the high schools I see, say like Heritage or Port Moody, they place a larger emphasis on, I would say, bigger competitions such as VEX or FRC. And FTC is oftentimes a community team made up of friends or like family friends.
Okay, so FRC is first robotics we call it competitions?
Yeah.
Okay, so FRC. So how's that different from FTC? Is that quite similar?
I think the originally FRC was conceived first, but the issue with that is that it required a really high budget. I would say some teams in the US often use budgets of upwards of $300,000, and it's like for people such as like me or you, $300,000 just isn't accessible.
Yeah.
So first, wanted to create a challenge that's as like complicated or as like
As
big,
sophisticated.
sophisticated as FRC. Also, a competition that's in a way simpler and more accessible to people and communities that aren't, say, in a school with large funding.
I see, because I've heard that in Port Moody, there's a lot of funding that's going through that as well.
Yeah.
It's, obviously, they have a big budget, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Well, Jerry, that was a very insightful talk we just had. I want to thank you a lot for this opportunity to speak with you and to learn more about robotics in general. And in the future, I wish you and your team good luck. And yeah, good luck on your future aspirations as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, man. We'll see you later.
I'm gonna play Genshin. Mountains of Tibet. So how would you say the weather compares to, say, the mountains inside the Mariana Trench? Because obviously it's a really big difference, right?
The Marianas Trench?
Wait, are we doing robotics?